Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of Against All Odds. And as I say at the beginning of every podcast, it's purely a selfish reason why I record these episodes because I get to speak to inspirational people to share with you. And today I've been so excited to welcome Clare Romeo to the show. How are you, my lovely?
I'm good, thanks, Amy. I'm really good. Yeah, how are
I'm,
you?
I'm so excited. So Claire's a transformational coach, but I've known Claire. We've just been discussing for over 21 years because my
Yeah,
son's 21. And last time I saw you, I think I was pregnant or just given birth.
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Wow,
Really.
it's so good to catch up with you, and you've been so busy
Likewise.
in these 20 odd years as well, haven't you?
I have. I have, yeah, absolutely. But it's just so great to connect with you. And, I know we're going to talk about growth, but it's a really good thing for you and I to be discussing because, of course, we've both grown so much in those 20 years, haven't we?
Yeah, blimey,
Lots of
we've talked a lot.
evolution.
Yeah, absolutely. So, transformational coaching, and I know you do a holistic as well, which is absolutely great. Because as I was saying, it's a big part of kind of calming your life down, working on your mindset, but also holistically as well, and your central nervous system. So, how
Yeah.
did you get into all of this? Where did it start?
Well, I think I've always had a understanding of that side of things. So I've always been an energy person. So, when I meet somebody, I can read their emotions, etc., what's behind how they're feeling, etc. And I'm really interested in people. I think that's where it's come from. I've got a real desire to understand people, what makes them tick, why they do what they do. And so, yeah, it's developed from there really. Obviously, my predominant role has been in the corporate world, corporate leadership. Um, but the energetical side of things is also part of that, growth is all about getting your energy right and making sure that you're able to move forward. So it's just been a personal interest really for me. Um,
Yeah,
like I say, understand people, and you come across all sorts of people during your lifetime, and understanding what they've been through, what makes them tick, why they do the things that they do, etc., is where that's come from. So yeah, real understanding has been the
yeah,
main thing for me.
that's great. And you kind of work with kind of high achievers, really, I suppose we'd call them, you
Yeah,
know, and because you see it everywhere, like people are just burnt out, aren't they? They're just
yeah,
they say
yeah.
people tend to have no life balance. It's the all or nothing, isn't it, at the moment?
Exactly, exactly. I think, it's a bit like a pressure cooker at the moment. Leadership, um, leadership management, team management, whatever. People are expected to do more with less all the time at the moment. And that creates that pressure. People are under that pressure. And unless they know what to do with that energy or that emotion, it makes it very, very difficult to continue to show up for yourself, for your team, for everybody around you, but for yourself more so. If you show up for yourself, then you can do a great job. And I always say this to teams and leaders, etc. I'm one of these people who believe 100% that everybody turns up at work to do a good job.
Yeah,
Nobody thinks, right, I'm going to go in and do a rubbish job today. So, or, I'm going to create so much chaos, if you like, that I'm going to burn out. Nobody
yeah,
thinks that.
no,
It creeps up on you. And then, you start to not be able to apply yourself in the right way, and get the best out of the situation. I mean, my new coaching company, Bluebell, my slogan is best of you. And that's because that's always been a genuine interest of mine. Whether I'm working with teams or individuals, my whole ethos is that we want to get the
yeah,
best out of a situation. I know
yeah,
they do,
that, yeah,
they do as well. So I'm pushing on an open door, if you like, but it's just about them being able to understand, okay, so what's the process of achieving that?
yeah. I love that. And then kind of understanding, I suppose, when you go in, not only do you improve their work life, but it all filters through. So their home life would probably be better as well, their relationships with friends, family, everything like that. So do you see that when you work with somebody, it just all their life changes, not just at work?
100%,
Yeah,
100%. And that's, that is. So obviously, I've done corporate transformation. So if there's been an acquisition, whatever the growth is, then obviously I've been able to restructure the team, apply the right people to the right roles, etc., etc. However, one of the things I've realised in doing what I'm doing is that personal development and corporate growth is one and the same thing. You can't really have one without the other. And
yeah,
so, when I talked about understanding people, it's really important to understand what motivates people, what their drivers are, and harnessing that to enable you to give clear direction of travel so that
yeah.
they understand what it is that you're expecting, and then be able to coach them through that situation.
Absolutely lovely. I love that because people do struggle with growth, especially if they're overwhelmed to start with. Like that next goal seems like climbing a mountain, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, do you have to deal with the burnt out, overwhelmed state first before somebody can move on to the next, or what? How do you work it?
It depends. Everybody's
Yeah,
individual, and each business is individual as well. So, obviously, it's better to be prepared and to do it beforehand. But obviously, if somebody's feeling um, pressured or stretched, I can also deal with that side of things as well. But the earlier, I was talking to a client recently, and I was saying the earlier that I can be involved in whatever the transformation or the changes that they want to happen, the better.
yeah,
However, it is also dealing with um, what might have happened before. So a lot of the time, the transformation comes about when we let go of old patterns,
yeah,
things that have created the experiences that we're having. That gives us the lens that we look through life at.
absolutely. It gives you perceptions, doesn't it? Straight away.
Exactly,
Yeah, yeah, subconsciously.
exactly.
Do you have to help people spot their patterns? Because some people they find it difficult. But let's be honest, if we'd spotted our patterns, we'd have probably changed already.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. And that is all it's about as well, really, is about understanding ourselves, which sounds strange, but like you say, people aren't aware. They
no,
don't have that level of self-awareness all the time. And particularly, like I say, when you're trying to get through the day to day, and you've got lots of pressure on you, sometimes it's very difficult to take a step back and think, oh, okay, I've done that because that's where I feel comfortable. And
yeah,
so if I'm in a situation that makes me feel uncomfortable, I'll divert and I'll do something differently instead of going after what it was that we wanted.
yes,
We change course.
yeah, yeah,
And it's about, okay, so let's look at that roadblock. What's stopping you achieving what you want to achieve? And how do we remove that? And sometimes it's literally about understanding and acknowledging those patterns to be able to go, oh, okay. And
yeah, yeah,
have a aha moment and you can go,
yeah,
okay, all right, I see that. I see I do that for that reason. And that awareness then can dissolve it, which, like I say, is the same with corporate leadership and also with personal development as well and self-awareness.
that's it. I mean, self awareness is key. If you're going to start to change anything, you've got to kind of have an awareness about why you're doing it, what you're doing it, what your triggers are, what's out of your comfort zone, what's comfortable. I suppose you have to go through the whole lot, don't you?
You do, you do. But like you say, sometimes it's subconscious decision. A
Yes,
lot of the time it's a subconscious
yeah,
decision.
yeah,
People
yeah,
don't realise that they're doing it. And so therefore, it's almost like you're on that hamster wheel and you keep trying and trying, and like I say, it's not through a want of um skill, if you like. So, some of the people that I work with are highly skilled, technical, know their job inside out, upside down. They really understand what they're doing. They're fantastic at what they do, but they're unaware that they've got these energetical blocks,
Yes.
or um, sometimes it's because they haven't got that clarity around what it is they're trying to achieve and what it is that's stopping them getting there. So it's about coming back to that and consistently, supporting that. And one of the things I wanted to say as well is it's really important to build that consistency and clarity,
Yes. Yeah.
because that then builds that trust for you to be able to support somebody through a change transformation. Because if you haven't got trust, it
Mm,
just won't work.
yeah, that's it. It's like an automatic, you suddenly become aware of an automatic behavior, and it is that automatic. It can happen in a millisecond.
Yeah,
Your subconscious is that used to doing it that actually, when you say consistency, your brain needs to be almost rewired into a new way of thinking.
exactly.
I knew you, but trust is a big one because our brains are great, but what they are designed to do is keep us safe.
Exactly.
And yes, it's good, but there's also a very big flip side of that.
Yeah,
If you let it run on automatic all the time.
yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah,
that's when, like I say, when uncomfortable situations show up. For example, I've integrated two competitive teams of recent years, and I mean, it was an amazing experience to do, but there were barriers to that change because of the level of competition previously. Uh,
right.
so we had to gradually build up that trust to enable us to get where we wanted to go, to have that full integration, and they had to trust each other as well. Uh,
Yeah,
so
absolutely. So, how do you work with them in a holistic way? Because we spoke about the podcast before the podcast, saying it's all right working up here all the time, but
yeah,
we store it in our body as well.
we do. We
Yeah,
do. So, I mean, because outside of the corporate world, I've trained in Reiki, shamanic healing, experiential healing, which are all about the energies that we hold in our body because of an experience that's created, maybe a
yeah,
trauma, and or, even if it's not necessarily a traumatic experience, but just something that we've picked up from an experience that we've had, and
yeah,
do something in a particular way. So therefore you carry that energy in your body and it creates a blockage. So because I've got that awareness, I can actually bring that into discussions with the strategical side of things as well, because I'm a very strategical person. Obviously, I've operated at senior leadership level for sort of 25 years. But there is an element of the energetical side of things as well that enables the transformation to take place. And part of that is engaging with the individual to understand, like I say, what the blocks are to the changes, which, having had a business management degree, you do like change management within that.
yeah,
They talk about barriers to change, but they're talking about like mental barriers, so a physical barrier. So, whether that be financial concerns, etc. I'm talking about fears that have been created, and then that creates a blockage within your nervous system, if you like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
that won't allow that change to take place
yeah,
fully. And sometimes we can paper over the cracks. So,
yeah,
you can make a temporary change because you've engaged your brain and gone, okay, so I need to do this to achieve that.
yeah,
Unless you have removed that barrier fully, it's unsustainable. And then it won't continue to happen, because what you find is human nature is to revert to type.
yeah, yeah. You're so right because your brain is a record of the past.
Yeah.
that's basically what it is. It will try and predict the future. 9 times out of 10, it's not very good at doing it, but it is a record of the
Yeah,
past. But your body holds a record of your past as
100%. Yeah.
well. And it happens that quickly that a lot, again, self awareness, a lot of people wouldn't recognize like the feeling, this, like literally in your body. It's like, I always explain to people, so I used to have a water phobia.
Mm,
When I was 40 years old, I actually learned to swim. But what I noticed is I could stand at the edge of a swimming pool. This is before I learned to swim. And I'd have all the stomach turning, sweaty palms, and things like that.
yeah,
Even if I was at home and I sat and thought about standing at the edge of a swimming pool, which I wasn't, I was sat on the sofa, I would have the same physiological effects.
yeah.
Like my body has
Interesting.
stored
Yeah,
that I would have the sweaty palms, but I'd be nowhere near water.
yeah. Mm,
So if it does that over like water,
mm,
which is was quite a big phobia, can you imagine it'd do it over absolutely everything that so I suppose any job that you've gone for and you've not got, your body's stored that fear of
exactly.
rejection, that so that's blocking your energy.
Yeah.
Anything like where you've done something possibly not the right way, that would store the fear. So you've got a big job on your hands
Yes.
because you can't talk your way out of this, really, can you? Well,
No, no, and
that
that's the other
thing,
thing. Yeah, is you can feel the energy around it. Like I've talked to different leaders and we've talked about emotions and feelings in the workplace. And, corporate of old was, well, leave that at home, leave that at the door, don't bring that to work with you. That's
no,
just not reality. And I think we talked about before this call, particularly since COVID, people are more sensitive, if you like,
yeah,
and more aware of the fact that wellness at work is as important as wellness at home. And
yes,
we talked about how the two are very similar, and they are very similar in the sense of it does impact all relationships. They do end up um, influencing and impacting you in your workspace and also at home.
yeah, yeah. So what kind of techniques do you teach people? Do you teach them like daily things to do or
Yeah, absolutely.
okay,
So
okay,
daily routine is so important, and important for me and as a
yeah,
leader, when I've gone into leadership, when I've done the leadership roles, I've performed much, much better doing a daily ritual than I did, you know, if I had didn't do it.
yeah,
And however, I'm fully aware that at a corporate leadership level, people are so busy that, often the pushback I get is, well, I haven't got time to do a daily routine.
yes, yeah, yeah,
But it hasn't got to be hours. People are under this misconception that, they have to sit for an hour and meditate. That
yeah,
isn't true. I can teach them to do a daily routine that can take 10 to 15 minutes and it will set them up for the day.
yeah, yeah,
But it's all about what they do in those 10, 15 minutes to get the right results, to set them in the right place, if you like, in the right energy before they leave the house. You know yourself, you get up in a not so great mood, how that influences then the rest of your day and things continue to go wrong. It's like a snowball effect. So
yeah,
if you get your mindset and your energy straight before you do it, then the outcome will be completely different. And also if you align your energy with your real purpose. So if you feel like you're going to work to create a world that you want to create, so you're meeting your own needs and desires, then again, it's more motivation for you to do that.
yeah. I love that. So, what does your morning routine look like?
My morning routine looks like often I'll do a guided meditation.
Yeah,
It'll set my mindset. I also do a lot of breath work.
yeah, yeah.
So it does vary. I'm not saying I stick to the same thing all of the time, but I try and do breath work at least once a week.
Mm-hmm.
Um, But definitely I do a meditation. I also I do a yoga practice as well because again, it's about moving the energy around your body. Um,
Yeah,
but also grounding for me is a massive one. So I've talked a lot on LinkedIn, etc., about walks in nature, looking at the environment around you and
yeah,
connecting in with their energy and that energy that's outside in nature. Because for me, and even before I did the energy work, this is why I say I've always had a little bit of a understanding of it because as you know, I live near a forest. And
yeah.
for me, as soon as I step into that forest, it's like I literally, and I just feel so much better.
I love that because I shout from the rooftops. I work with a lot of people about neurogenesis, which is about building new brain cells quicker
Right, wow.
for brain health. And one of the big things for that is nature and wide
Mm,
open spaces and grounding and things like that. Because if you think about it, we are living very far from what we was designed to do.
yeah,
We haven't really evolved since cave. We are modern day cavemen and women running around. It's just the
yeah,
whole world has changed around us. So we
yeah.
weren't designed to get in a car and drive everywhere. We weren't designed to live in little boxes with central heating.
No,
We weren't, but half the things that we do, well, most of the things that we do nowadays, we weren't designed to do. We lived in tribes, so we have much more face to face connection.
yeah.
But one of the big things is we spent time in nature,
Mm,
which
that's
a
right.
lot of people either don't do or don't get the chance to do.
Yeah,
So the reason we get that is because the brain craves it,
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
and the fresh air and the grounding. Like we didn't wear shoes back in the
No,
day.
no,
So
absolutely, absolutely, and it's amazing. But
yeah,
I can bring that energy into that environment,
yeah,
so I can
great.
actually give that energy in that environment because I do spend the time in nature, the time that perhaps they haven't got at corporate level to
Yeah,
spend in nature. So I take that on, absorb that, and then obviously can take that into the workplace. And, again, sometimes at work there's so many different demands coming in. You've got
yeah,
lots of different people want different parts of you during that day. And one of the really valuable things that I used to do when I've got a lot of things coming at me was just take a breath.
because that's another thing. We don't breathe like we're supposed
Mm.
to, neither. Because one of the first things to kind of get knocked out of sync if we are stressed, overwhelmed, or we've got, is we don't breathe properly.
No, that's
So
right.
so it's like all the breath work and things like that. And people will look odd going, well, I do breathe. Well, yeah, but they've automatically said that the evidence shows now that we shallow breathe quite a lot of the time.
Yeah. Mm.
So people have forgotten how to breathe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And it's again, it sounds really bizarre to say take a breath, but I mean a proper breath.
yeah,
So step away from what you're doing, take a nice deep breath in,
yeah,
make sure you're completely filling your lungs, and breathe out again, and make sure you're absolutely pushing all the air out of your lungs. And I can guarantee you then go back to your list and you can prioritize a lot better than before you've taken that breath
yeah, yeah.
because you're
That's
taking
it.
yourself out of that chaos into a bit of clarity.
Yeah. And I love the fact that you said guided meditation, that you do guided meditation, because I openly admit to everybody, I spent about a year trying to meditate, and I was one of them people that thought, all right, I've got to find an hour.
Yeah,
And after about a few minutes of me trying to do it every time, my brain would go, right, I must go to Morrison's and get that chicken that I needed. Then I've got to do this. And then, so I literally binned it off until somebody literally said, no, meditation, you can do it 5-10 minutes
yeah,
every morning. That's absolutely fine. I found it's very personal preference because some people like just calming music.
yeah,
I do have to have it guided, if I'm being honest.
yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah.
I do like somebody talking, also doing
Yeah,
some. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that, and that's great, and part of what I do, so the experiential healing side of things is dealing with experiences. But what actually happens is I do a guided meditation with a client, and then we go into a process of releasing the energies. And to do that, I go into the meditation with them, which sounds bizarre, but I'm
Right.
leading and guiding it, but I go on the journey with them at the same time. And then
Right.
obviously I can talk to them about the energies that are going on as I feel it, and then guide them into, okay, oh, okay, I didn't, that's something that I've ignored or I haven't seen before. And then they tend to open up and be able to talk about things. A lot of what I do is about listening, and I
Yes,
think listening is a dying skill.
it is.
And
You're,
really
yeah,
listening and understanding, and then being able to, like I say, guide and support somebody through a situation.
yeah, I love that.
Mm.
And, I think we spoke about this as well before. It's people are becoming more open-minded now. There'll always be the people that will go, no, meditation won't work. I breathe absolutely fine. I don't need to
Of
concentrate on
course.
that. There'll always be those people. But I think since COVID, um, people were we were locked down, so people had more time to take a step back.
Yeah.
They had more time to focus on themselves.
Yeah.
More people started exercising,
Exactly. Yeah.
and people, not like I say, not everybody, but there was definitely more people that went, right, is there another way to keep myself healthy? Because it did scare people, and it just showed you how easily something could change the world.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
So you started to see loads of people that were getting out in nature. A lot of people
Mm.
started hiking, which is
Yeah.
great to see. A lot of people looked into meditation. They started doing the ice baths. A lot of
Yeah.
people started jogging, and that was great to see.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. And again, change and transformational um leadership, if you like, is all about allowing that time as well and reflection. So again, in the corporate world, I worked as the head of quality and the head of customer experience. And so that was all about processes and obviously meeting your customer needs, etc., etc. But one, it's good to explore what that looks like. So, what actually works for the customer, which is the same as what works for you, what works for your clients, etc.
yeah,
But take the time to understand, to really understand it, and then work together to work out what's the best way forward. And it takes time. It's not, rip the plaster off, if you like. And I know that there is a temptation to rush at things because there's
yeah.
so much going on. Now, like say, after COVID, everybody's back at work, etc., etc. We've gone back to that chaos, for want of a better
Oh, yeah,
word.
yes, yeah, yeah,
And people are struggling more with that because they know different now.
yes. I was about to say it's a double-edged sword, isn't it?
Yeah,
People have they felt calmer even in a world pandemic, and then all of a sudden it's like back to the grindstone, and it feels heavier.
it does. It really
Yeah,
does. And
yeah,
then people really struggle with it. But you can have both. That is one thing that is clear to me is you can have both. You can still function and be really productive and be a really high functioning manager, senior leader, and also give yourself the time to absorb what's going on and make the right decisions,
yeah.
just with few changes.
So expectations run high in the corporate world.
Mm.
Would you say the biggest expectation comes from the employers, or does it come from the people themselves? Because people expect a lot and they get massively disappointed if they're not hitting the targets, the levels, and
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a double-edged sword again, isn't it?
yeah,
Because it's the expectations of the world.
yeah,
So obviously all companies, etc., are there to make money. They're there to grow, there to develop. That's why they're in business. So there's the expectation of the business,
Yeah.
but there's also the expectation of you as an individual. Because, I talked about the other day, um, there's that temptation in January, set yourself a goal. What are you going to achieve this year? And everybody tries to go at it, they have this expectation of what they want to achieve. And by sort of third week of January, we were starting to get a little bit more
Yeah. Yes.
because nature, if you look around you, it's not ready. It's
No,
not
it's
the
not.
right time of year to be thinking about those sorts of things. So that's also something that I'm keen to bring into the work environment is to work with the energies that are around you. Think about this time is all about what's going on underneath the soil, if you like.
Do you know what? I am glad you said that because you just see all the posts on social media. You'll see everybody that even not work related, but it'll be like going on a diet, going to go to the gym and start the gym, go 3 times a week, going to do this, going to do that. There's a big long list. I fell into that trap before
Yeah, I
massively,
think we all
but
have.
like
Yeah,
you say, there's a cycle to everything,
yeah,
and January seems like 86 days long as it is,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Like we can't, animals hibernate, they retract at different points of the year and things
Yeah,
like that. So do
exactly.
we. So I always think that first quarter of the year is actually what do you need to feel
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, exactly,
Because
exactly.
how many people burn out in that first like year?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Because that like, going back to the expectations, they're setting such a huge expectation and they want to go from 0 to 100
yeah,
straight away.
yeah,
There's no okay build up to it. But as with any change, like I say, it needs a build up, it needs a foundation. You can't go. I remember talking to somebody about, it's a pyramid, so put in a good foundation and then you can work your way to the top. Then you've got a solid foundation of achieving what you
mm,
want to achieve. If you go straight up, you'll fall over.
yeah,
you
yeah,
know it really is that. So now's the time for putting in those foundations, nurturing the seeds, and then growing. you know
do you know, do you think people struggle with like instant gratification
yes,
instead? Yeah, I'm glad you've said that. That is a society thing. Everybody wants something right now, whether that's that health, the job, finances. Nobody's
exactly.
got the delayed gratification anymore.
No,
Nobody can see the long game.
exactly. Yeah, and like say, that's all to do with the environment as well, isn't it? Like say, there's expectations at all levels. There's your own
Yes.
expectations, there's corporate expectations, there's community expectations, there's
Yeah.
what you've seen on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, LinkedIn. There's all these expectations that are they in a boiling pot, really.
Yeah.
And so, it's again breaking that barrier, if you like, to say, no, it's actually okay to take a breath. Your only,
Yes.
your only competition is you, but the only expectation could be that you're just better than you were yesterday.
That's it. Yeah. I've also found over the last few years, and again, I think I was felt like this at one point that the self care and the wellness, and taking that step back, a lot of people feel selfish for doing that.
Yeah, they do. They
And
do.
it's odd, isn't it? It wasn't until somebody explained it to me, and I'm like, oh my god, yes.
Yeah,
But I think once you get into like a mindset of yes, I can achieve this, I can have the work life balance, I can do this, I can do that. That actually taking a step back for you to rest feels alien.
of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It really does. It really does feel alien. However, it's the thing that will create that success. It's what enables you to achieve.
no, we're back. You just
You just froze for a
yeah,
minute.
I do apologise. I don't know what happened there. But
That's all
I
right.
got to the point where about feeling selfish and we can't.
Yeah.
What that's an odd thing. Do you think women suffer with that more than men?
No, if I'm honest, I think it's not a gender thing. I think guys actually put themselves under a lot of pressure to deliver for families, etc. They consider themselves the head of the family. They've got to be the one that are doing it
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah,
Obviously,
yeah,
for the female, it's usually raising children, etc. So they put themselves under immense pressure as well. I think it's not, like I say, it's not gender specific. I think it's different types of pressure that we put ourselves under. And so
yes,
therefore, um, like you say, you consider it, a lot of people consider it selfish to focus on themselves, but actually that's how you become empowered and how you help other people as well. That's the thing, that self-love or self giving back to yourself is the way that you are able to give to other people as well.
yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of getting in that thinking that actually rest kind of heightens your performance as well.
Exactly. Yeah, it really
Yeah,
is. You know
that's it.
yourself, don't you, when you have had a break. I think people are like, for example, when they go into work on a Monday morning, they're ready for the Monday morning motivation, if you like. They know it's going to have been busy after the weekend, but they can handle it because they've just had a break.
Yes,
Whereas
yeah,
that busyness happens on a Wednesday, it's so much harder to deal with because they haven't had that break. But if they could give that to themselves in sort of 10-15 minutes a day and or change their energy and approach just in the normal day to day, then they're able to deal with that um the different demands on their time, etc. Time is one of the things that people really struggle with is having enough time to do everything. But it's
yeah.
about showing up differently for yourself and for the people around you, whether that be at work or like I say, at home.
That's yeah, yeah. Overwhelm is big for people, isn't it? And
Overwhelmed
time
massive.
is
Yeah,
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 yeah. So when you start approaching people, like you're going into workplaces and things like that, and working with
yeah,
people in groups and one-on-one, and
yeah,
they've never done meditation or breathing before, how does that go down? You've got somebody that's never even probably researched it or looked at it.
yeah. Again, it really depends on the individual. And that's the same as anything, Amy. Like I've taught customer experience journeys, etc. And I've taught them to construction workers, engineers, people in offices, all different walks of life in lots of different industries as well. So it's exactly the same thing in the sense of, sometimes I'll talk to engineers about customer experience and they're like, what's it got to do with me? Well, you are actually facing customers on a day-to-day basis. So actually, the customer experience journey is actually part of what you do as well. And so it's this a similar sort of thing. And a lot of the time, the
Yeah,
challenges come from, they just don't understand it. So it's about giving, again, that clarity, that consistency, and obviously a strong belief and passion in it myself. I believe that getting people set up to succeed influences all areas of their life, whether that be their customer journey, and or their own journey, and like I say, at home or in the workplace.
yeah, I love that. So how long, like if you've got somebody that's overwhelmed, probably wanting to take the next step in the corporate world or go for a higher job or whatever that is,
Yeah,
how long would you say it takes them? Because it takes micro habits, we call them, doesn't it? Like the morning routines, it's definitely micro habits.
yeah.
How long before you start to see any kind of improvement in
Yeah.
like the overwhelm and feeling calm, and
Well,
I suppose it's
interestingly, yeah,
go
I
on.
was going to say it is definitely, it depends, again, it depends on the person. And, I've
Yeah,
had clients who have seen immediate changes. And I know that sounds crazy, but I can go in and have a session with them and their perspective just changes. So it can automatically have an immediate effect, and or it can take 6 to 12 months. It really
yeah,
does depend. And it
right.
depends on their experiences, etc. And that's kind of what we're missing is what's that individual's experience, and how can we help them remove the barriers that they've created to achieving what it is that they want to achieve. Oh, you're frozen again.
Oh, there we go. But I don't know what's going on my internet here. Yeah,
Yeah,
I tell you what, have you ever looked back at one of your clients and gone, wow, when we first started working together, look at the difference.
yeah,
Look what you're able to kind of deal with now, and look how you're dealing with it in a different way.
yeah, yeah,
Wow.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and I mean, I talked about the integration of those two teams as well, and to see them working seamlessly together, and they've just won an award for their customer experience is amazing. To
Yeah.
think that they were two separate teams, completely different cultures, and like cultural change is a challenge, I'm not gonna lie, because
Yeah. Yeah. You're
you know,
relying on everybody else taking part. You know,
exactly,
that's not
exactly,
easy. And
exactly.
yeah, in a team, I suppose that's why you're so good at your job, because you need the whole team to kind of pull in together, because one person improving,
Yeah.
it's not fair on them. They're like a tugboat trying to pull everybody else
Exactly.
in.
Exactly. And it does involve the whole team. You have to
Yes.
be able to, I said to you before the call, the team was 80 wide. So there's a lot of people, lots of different personalities, lots of different styles, different cultures, different influences, experiences that are influencing that team. Um,
Yes.
to coordinate and get them to all work together for the same goal at the end of the day. So yeah, it's all about understanding, like I say, what makes them tick, clarity, consistency, also them feeling, like I say, building that trust and that relationship so that they believe in what it is that you're trying to achieve.
And I suppose that's what either makes or breaks a business, isn't it? Because you've
Mm,
got to have a team that work together.
100%.
And I suppose if you've got team members that are stressed out, burnt out, overwhelmed, that's just going to cause tension, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely. And with acquisitions and transformation and change, it's not something that people are comfortable with. It,
they're
you
not,
know,
because people don't like change,
they
you know?
don't. It's a really uncomfortable journey, and that comes from fear. That comes from a fear of some description, which is where I talk about blockages and barriers and energetical things that stop people achieving what they want to achieve. It's a fear. Somewhere there's a fear of that change. So what does that mean? I was talking to somebody, and actually, I saw Stephen Bartlett did a post today about AI
Yeah,
and writing, um, and people are so fearful of AI,
yeah,
and I get it because you're losing that humanness, that energetical humanness behind it. And I agree, with what he was saying. Actually, writing is a skill that's going to be really important in the future. And listening, go back to
yeah.
listening again. That's another skill that's dying out. And AI can't replace those things.
No, no, I think AI's got its place, and I think it can be very
Absolutely.
valuable.
Yeah,
Yeah, again, like you say, a lot of people fear it because again,
they
it's
do.
new and it's
Yeah,
change and things like that.
yeah,
But yeah, I think nothing can take over us being human. We have a special talent at that. That's what we
yeah,
are.
yeah,
That's what we
absolutely.
are. And you normally find when we talk about change as well, and especially in a team,
Yeah,
Suppose if you get a team, let's just say we've got a team of 10 people and it's changing, they are more likely to worry together and kind of complain and make assumptions
Yeah.
and things like that, aren't they? Because
Definitely, if
yeah,
you're not clear and consistent and like I say, build that trust. Somebody said to me, well, how do you do that? And I say, you deal with the barriers or how they're feeling head on. Gone are the days where you like I say, don't bring your emotions to work. Bring
yeah,
your emotions to work. Let's have them. Let's get it out on the table. Let's talk about what you're worrying about. Let's work out how we move past that rather than trying to brush it under the carpet because it will come back and bite you,
yeah,
you know. And then you haven't got, you know, because of the fears, sometimes people will say, oh, yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that change. But underneath, the energy is like, oh my God, I can't believe we're doing this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. If you
yeah,
don't deal with that, then it will come back at a later date. It will mean that they're less productive, that they're not able to be as successful as you would like them to be because they've got this underlying concern, if you like, about doing
yeah,
what it is that you're asking them to do.
yeah. Do you follow a lot of companies in Europe because they are big on employee wellness, aren't they? In
Yeah,
Europe, they are trialing lots of things like the 4-day week and things like that.
yeah.
Do you wish that the UK was more like that? I think we've got a lot to learn from Europe.
Do you? Interesting. I haven't really thought about it from that perspective. And I don't know much about the European side of things. Obviously, I've worked in the UK predominantly. Um, so I think there is, even in the UK, we're talking about wellness a lot more.
Yes, it's
Like I said
good.
to you before the call, there's talking about it and then there's actually really believing in it and being engaged with it. Um, you know, Companies have got to have a real genuine care for their people and engage with them and,
Yes.
you know, want them to be the best that they can be because then
Yeah.
that'll make the business the best that it can be.
Yeah. I think, yes, I think they are now taking note because
Yeah,
they've made that connection that actually happy workers are more productive, they're more likely to do well in
yeah,
the workplace.
yeah,
And a team that gets on well as well
yeah,
and understands each other.
exactly.
Because you hear it a lot, don't you? That, it it's one of the yeah, it's hard out there, isn't it? Business is hard, it's not
Yeah,
easy.
yeah,
So you need a good team of people that are motivated and working together. So
yeah,
I'm
going in the
suppose that
same
the leaders and
direction.
these companies love you.
Well, I mean, and that's what I'm all about. It's all about growth, that personal growth, that transformation to achieve what it is that they want to achieve. So, yeah, ultimately, we'll get the team pushing all in the same direction and understanding why they're doing what they're doing so that they can, all go in the same direction with a purpose together.
Lovely. Now, would you say that the company leaders are harder to kind of de-stress and get their energy right? Well, is there like a hierarchy of stress in these big companies?
Um, Again, it really does depend on the business. I mean, yes, obviously, there is a different level of stress, if you like, depending. But actually, middle management, etc., they've got the top and
The
the
bottom.
bottom
Yeah,
to deal
yes. Yeah,
with.
good
So they're
point.
like the most compression point, really.
Yeah,
Um, but as obviously as a senior leader, I know that sometimes you're dealing with things that people don't necessarily have access to from, within the team. So there's different types of stress is what I would say. Um, and I think that sometimes senior leaders, etc., um, think that they have to be stressed.
Do you know what? I was just about to say that this kind of now that's a social thing again, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
That to be a high achiever, you
Yeah.
have to be stressed, you have to be manic, you must be chasing your ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you'll see like somebody who's doing that will kind of take the piss out a little bit out of a YouTuber or a TikTok influencer that's obviously got a very balanced life, that they're just doing a bit of content. You kind of, it's like they can't be doing that because they
No.
need to be stressed. But it's
Yeah.
also, it's like that persona that you have to have.
Yeah.
But interesting, would you say that you would, because obviously if you are a leader, you've worked your way up the ranks.
Yeah.
Do you think these people, when they are further down, feel like they need this persona to be able to get?
Mm. I think again, on some occasions, yes,
Yes.
possibly, possibly. But again, that's up to the person who's leading and coaching them to dispel that. Because
Yes.
again, you can have both. You can, I'm not saying, absolutely not saying that um, pressure, like positive pressure, is a good thing because sometimes people perform under pressure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm not saying you never go outside your comfort zone, by the way, not at all. The pressure remains the same, but it's how you deal with that
I was about to
changes.
say, yeah, it's how you view the situation is what makes it stressful. A good
Yes,
stress or a bad stress, isn't it?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean, it's the same thing where you could have like two identical people with the same upbringing, the same financial situations, and one will deal with stress one way,
Yeah,
the same, and then one will deal with the other. And it's again, we mentioned it earlier. It's your perception
yeah,
of what it
definitely.
is
Yeah,
absolutely key.
yeah.
So I love what you're doing because
Thank you.
you are showing people that you can have that dream role that you wanted.
Yeah,
You can have that ambitious mindset, but you can
100%.
also have this side of you that's calm,
Yeah,
and then you know how to unplug
mm,
because
absolutely.
you are showing people that you can have or more than all or nothing.
Absolutely, absolutely. And in doing that, you get more from your team. One of the things that when I was going through this transformation, that the managers that reported to me always used to say, how do you handle all the different things that are coming at you? How are you so calm? Is it that swan situation where you're gliding across the water, but underneath you're like this? And it's like, kind of, yeah, but that's a genuine thing because I wasn't feeling that pressure necessarily in the same way that other people were because I was doing the work to make sure that, okay, the pressures were coming, but I was able to handle it in a particular way.
That's it. And I suppose your focus was good because you was dealing with it in a calm way, even though you
Yeah,
got it coming from all sides. So you was able to keep your focus,
yeah,
your attention
yeah,
as well,
yeah,
as well as maintain your energy. So actually, what you are teaching people is like worth its weight in gold.
yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Because it's mental health is all time high.
Yeah,
People burning out, disease and illness
yeah,
that are all linked to stress, honey. Like
exactly.
and I think like people shy away from ambitions because it's too stressful.
Yeah,
Um, but you are just showing people actually that it is possible. You've done it. You live like it.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so therefore, it's okay to show up like that. It's okay to show up as you as well at work. That's sometimes something that people struggle with again. They feel like they've got to fit into a box. You haven't.
Yes.
You can show up as uniquely you. And that actually creates a more creative, transformational business that's able to grow because then the ideas flow, etc., etc. So you've got
I was
more,
about to say, yeah, being authentic is actually probably your superpower in the
yeah,
workplace as well.
it is. But like I say, there's, quite often a lot of people think that there's a certain way they have to be.
Yeah,
And that can actually stifle growth.
right, okay.
Yeah, because they're trying to fit into a box and rather than express themselves in their own unique way.
I love that. I love that. I've got one more question for you. Everybody
Okay.
struggles with this one. It's the hardest one ever.
Oh, okay.
Tell me three good things about yourself.
Oh gosh. Okay. Three good things about myself. Um, I am the bridge between those two worlds. So
Hmm.
I think that's fairly unique,
Yes, it is.
in the sense of I get people.
Yeah,
I really understand people, and so I'm able to bring the strategical approach as well as the sort of compassionate, understanding approach. Um, I genuinely care about people.
I was about to say, I think you've got a lot of compassion.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's probably a good thing as well. So for me, yes, obviously, this is a passion of mine, a purpose of mine. Um, and I think that that will show through as well, that I'll bring that passion. The other thing is I'm an open book, so I'm always open to learn. So it's not I'm not the done deal. And I think sometimes when people have gone through growth and experiences and have got knowledge, etc., they stop. They think, well,
yes.
I've reached this, I've achieved it. I'll never be that person. For me, every day's a school day, as they say. I'm
The
always
love for learning.
learning. Yeah,
Yeah, me too, honey, me too. Yeah.
yeah,
I don't feel productive if I haven't learned something like 1 week, you know. It
exactly.
could be the smallest thing, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's good to have interests and the wanting to learn.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely, definitely. And
yeah.
and you can learn, obviously going into different situations, you're still learning a lot. So I learn as much from the people I'm coaching as they do from
Yes,
me. Really, it is a two-way street
yeah,
because,
I love that.
quite often I'll come across things that I haven't thought of, and then we'll put a different slant on it. We talked about perceptions earlier, so it's about being open to, oh, okay, I hadn't thought about it from that perception. So how do we work with that, So yeah, it's important to still be an open book.
I love that. Yes, being open, it's life changing
Yeah.
living how you're living because you can. A lot of people don't want to change their perceptions
Yeah.
because that's all they've known, you know,
Yeah,
that change
absolutely.
thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
But you welcome that.
I do.
Yeah.
I
And
do.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, anybody who's listened to this where you are scared of change, but you want to grow more and go to the next step, or if you own a company and you'd love Claire to speak to your employees and go in and do teams days and things like that, I highly recommend that you get in contact with us. So it's Bluebell Coaching, isn't it? Or
Yes.
something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Bluebell. So yeah, it's Claire at Bluebell.
yeah. I love that because I honestly think we are in a time where you are needed. Something's got to change
Thank you. Yeah.
before society keeps breaking down. That's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you are needed, and I like it that you're corporate as well because there's not
Yeah.
many people around doing that,
Bridging the gap. Yeah.
bridging that gap.
Yeah.
Uh, so thank you for joining me. You're an
Thank you,
absolute
Amy.
legend.
Oh, thank you, Amy. It's been lovely to see you.
Okay,
Thank
take
you for the
care.
opportunity. Take care.